Okay, so you're not going to believe this screenplay we're diving into today.
Oh, is it a wild one?
It is. It's called Sven,
Okay.
and the premise alone had me hooked.
Hmm.
So the screenwriter, Jesse Dorian, he's this incredibly talented. He's super elegant about how his own mental health journey really impacted the story.
That's interesting.
So get this, one of the main characters is Chilema's man.
A what?
A Chilema's man.
Dilemma's man, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, never heard of that before.
Right. It's like this creature, the last of its kind, and it's trapped in a condo with a very troubled man.
Right, so where did he come up with that?
Well, that's what's so fascinating about this whole deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We get this interview with Dorian,
Okay.
and he kind of lays it all out there, like his struggles with addiction, his ADHD diagnosis,
Right.
and even a manic episode, which he says directly influenced the dark themes in Sven.
So he's really pouring his experiences into his art.
Totally. And so knowing all this, and that Dorian wrote Sven during a manic episode, where's that line between creative expression and, maybe exploitation?
Right, it's a tricky one.
Does his mental state color the story in a way that might be ethically questionable?
Well, in the interview, Dorian is very open about the darker aspects of his mental health journey.
Yeah.
He acknowledges that his manic state allowed him to push boundaries and explore themes he might not have otherwise tackled.
But he also mentions that he believes the audience is always smarter than the artist. He's not trying to manipulate us. He's just presenting the story, and we decide what to make of it.
I think that's crucial, that respect for the audience.
Yeah.
It allows for a more authentic connection, even when the subject matter is challenging.
So bringing it back to the characters.
Yeah, the troubled man and the Chilama's man.
Stuck in this condo.
Not your typical locked-in-a-room situation, not at all. What do you think he's trying to say with that setup?
It's like he's exploring power dynamics, the complexities of forced cohabitation.
Okay.
Like these two beings, they're thrust together in this confined space, and they have to figure out how to navigate their differences.
And their fears.
Yeah, their fears, their desires, all of it.
There's also that sense of isolation and loneliness, right?
Totally. The condo itself becomes the symbol of their psychological states.
Trapped, isolated.
Forced to confront their inner demons.
And remember, Dorian himself drew on his own experiences for this whole locked-in-a-room scenario.
Right. He talks about feeling confined by his own mental health struggles.
Societal expectations.
Even the limitations of his budget.
Yeah.
So he had to get creative.
And he did.
He found a way to convey those feelings using the limited resources he had.
And that's where the brilliance comes in.
It really does. He's incredibly candid about his struggles with addiction and his ADHD diagnosis, which brings up this whole idea of the cost of creativity. Do you have to suffer for your art?
That's the age-old question, isn't it?
Yeah, and he initially believed that he needed substances to create to fuel his artistic process.
Oh, wow.
But after getting treatment and support, he realized that wasn't true at all.
Really?
Yeah, in fact, he wrote his darkest screenplay, Moraturiosis, while sober and mentally well.
Huh. So it debunks that whole tortured artist myth.
It does. It shows that you can channel your experiences, even the painful ones, without sacrificing your well-being.
That's a powerful message.
Before we move on, I wanted to mention that Dorian is also a musician.
Really?
Yeah, he's got this gothpop project called Imitate Invertebrate.
I love that name.
It's pretty great, right?
Right.
And it just shows how exploring different creative outlets can be so beneficial.
Yeah, music, writing, they can all feed into each other.
It's like having a diverse creative toolbox, What creative skill would you love to explore further?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, right? There's so many possibilities.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Dorian touches on the idea of finding your voice.
Yeah, as an artist and as a person.
He talks about how his journey with addiction and ADHD actually helped him.
To understand himself better.
And his creative process.
He realized that his creativity wasn't dependent on substances or diagnoses.
It was part of who he was.
It makes you wonder, if he could go back and change anything, would he?
That's a good question.
Or would he embrace the chaos, knowing it led him to where he is now?
Maybe the struggles were essential.
Part of his evolution as an artist.
Maybe the journey was just as important as the destination.
Okay, before we wrap this part up, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
If you could be locked in a room with any creature.
Oh, any creature.
Real or fictional, who would it be and why?
I think I'd choose a sphinx.
A sphinx, really?
Yeah.
What's the draw there?
Well, they're known for their riddles, their wisdom.
Right.
I feel like being locked in a room with one would be intense,
Oh, I bet.
but incredibly insightful. You'd have to confront your own biases.
Assumptions about the world.
Maybe come out of it with a deeper understanding
Of yourself.
and the universe.
That's a really cool answer. It's like a metaphor for the creative process itself.
Oh, I like that.
Confronting the unknown, grappling with ideas.
Emerging with a new perspective.
Well, I'm definitely curious to see how Dorian resolves this whole locked-in-a-room scenario in Sven.
Me too.
I have a feeling it's not going to be your typical happy ending.
Probably not, but it'll be thought-provoking.
Unforgettable.
Definitely.
Ready to move on to the final part of our deep dive.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with Sven.
We have
The uncomfortable elements.
the symbolism.
Dorian's unique style.
It's not about finding easy answers,
It's about embracing the complexity of the human experience.
which is refreshing, honestly.
It is.
So many films these days feel safe, predictable,
But not Sven.
and it's up to us to decide where we stand.
That's what makes it so powerful.
It's an active engagement.
With difficult ideas.
Looking in the mirror.
Acknowledging the darkness within us all.
He's not offering solutions.
He's presenting a problem.
And inviting us to be part of the conversation.
To grapple with these issues.
In our own lives.
In our communities.
Exactly.
Now, aside from screenwriting,
Yep.
Dorian also mentioned wanting to get back into acting.
Oh, that's right.
What do you think draws him to that?
I think it's that desire to connect.
With people.
Yeah, to explore human emotion.
Acting is like the ultimate form of empathy, right?
You're stepping into someone else's shoes.
Feeling their pain, their joy, their fears.
And that experience can feed back into his writing.
Give him even more insights.
He's constantly searching, evolving.
A true artist.
Definitely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the mind of Jesse Dorian.
And his captivating screenplay, Sven.
What's the most important takeaway for our listener?
I think it's a reminder that art can be a powerful tool.
For exploring the darkest corners of the human psyche.
It's not always about pretty pictures and happy endings.
Sometimes it's about confronting the uncomfortable.
The unsettling.
The things that make us squirm.
It's about embracing the unknown.
In art and in life.
Asking questions, challenging assumptions.
Being open to the possibility that there are no easy answers.
Dorian's work is a testament to that.
He pushes boundaries, provokes us, makes us think differently.
He's a compelling voice in contemporary storytelling.
So, dear listener, if you're looking for a film that will challenge you,
that will stay with you long after the credits roll,
we highly recommend checking out Sven.
And if you're feeling inspired,
maybe take some time to explore your own creative impulses.
Write a poem, paint a picture, learn a new song.
Who knows where that journey might lead you?
Embrace the unknown.
Embrace the discomfort.
Embrace the power of art.